So being a high level athlete, yes, requires you to be pretty athletic. Also need to have a high level of skill, but your mindset and your mentality needs to be there. And within the game, there is a mental game as opposed to just the physical game as well. And you have to play the mental game in order to gain advantages within the game. One of those type of players that, you know, are big trash talkers. They get into their opponent's heads. You know, the housery. I'm not gonna say that. Don't swear on this channel. It's kid friendly. But those type of players that are known for getting into opponents' heads, they play the mental game just as much as the physical game. Sometimes they just play the mental game. They don't even play the physical game. You have to be able to play the mental game if you really want to succeed in your sport. And I believe that the temperament of great players kind of comes down to a few shared traits that it doesn't really matter what sport you play, these traits can kind of translate, and they probably translate into having a good temperament in life as well, not just within sport. But before we get into that, my name is Tolu and welcome to the gang. Over this side of YouTube, I try and share as much realistic and practical advice to help you become a well-rounded athlete that performs at a high level in-game and beyond, aka an elite smart athlete. Now, the first of these qualities that I want to go into is composure. And I think that this is key because a lot of people, when things don't start to go their way, will just in their mind, they lose control and everything just seems to spiral. But these top level athletes are able to remain composed. It's like they're in the eye of the storm as opposed to being thrown around by the storm. But I don't think composure just means staying calm. It's kind of more controlled than that. I think it has more to do with their ability to not let external factors crush them. So, you know, when we talk about high pressure moments, you know, pressure makes diamonds, as they say, and these elite level athletes are the ones that end up coming out as diamonds within these situations. However, sometimes it isn't pressure that's causing them to actually keep composed. Top level athletes will experience, obviously, you know, failure at times. Every single athlete experiences failure because they do not win everything all the time. However, the top ones also experience a whole load of success. But to be continually successful, that success can't get to your head. So whether things are going bad and, you know, they're in low moments, or they're going up and they're in extremely high moments, they stay the same. They stay level, even keeled. And that is, I think, the key to maintaining true composure as a top level athlete. Now, how can you really do that yourself? I think that there's simple activities like meditation that can help you to just be more aware of your mindset. Think about when you work out by yourself alone, no one's watching you. Let's say you make a mistake. How frustrated do you get with yourself when you make a mistake? If you do that in your practice, it's going to translate into the games. So that is an opportunity to actually work on that mental side of the game so that you can be more composed in game situations. Similarly, if things are going really well in a workout, then you shouldn't think that, oh yeah, you know, I'm the best in the world, I got this made. That's an opportunity to try and push yourself to make them even better. Use basketball, the sport that I play. You've rattled off 100 shots, why not go for 200? Try and push yourself. Don't be satisfied with your results, but at the same time, appreciate where you're at. It's about balance. We could have alternatively just called this section balance, but balance, composure, same thing to me. It's all about regulating themselves and being able to not let success or failure change where they are within their mind. They are in control of their mind. They don't let external factors control it, and they certainly don't let internal thoughts control them too. If they do start to have negative thoughts, which they may do, obviously I'll never know, you can never get inside the head of someone else, but if they do have these negative thoughts, they probably have a lot of methods to divert their focus away from these negative thoughts. Positive self-talk is one that I like to suggest to athletes, because if you have words that are associated with certain emotions, the way that our brains work is that once you are able to verbalize these words, then you'll be able to bring yourself to a place in your mind that if you have practiced being controlled while saying that word, then just that word will be able to trigger that feeling in your brain. But it is something that has to be practiced and it does take time. But positive self-talk is a way to really push yourself to remain composed. Oh, and if you're enjoying the video so far, then you might as well hit the like and subscribe button, because it's cheaper than paying a trainer to tell you all of this stuff, because like it's free. Next thing I think a lot of these athletes have is supreme confidence. They know that the work they've done prior is going to translate into the game after. And I think that that is really the main way to gain confidence. Like, if you do everything you can within your powers to prepare for the game, it just instills a natural level of confidence in you that you're not going to be shaken, because you know what you're able to do, you know how hard you've worked. So you should be able to maintain that confidence regardless of the situation you find yourself in. However, being nervous and anxious is a natural human emotion. Sometimes that confidence isn't just within for every single person. How do we really get past that? Because that can be a big hurdle for anyone. One way I like to suggest is to actually just try and reframe our interpretation of nervousness, because scientifically, when we are nervous, our body is actually excited. And by that, it means it's our fight or flight response, basically. So that adrenaline's pumping through us and we're ready to, essentially, we're in survival mode. You can either fight or you can flee, fight or flight. I think if we can interpret this fight or flight response and actually use those words, remember I spoke about self-talk before, if we use that word excited as opposed to nervous. Excited also has positive connotations when used in another context. So if we can recognize when we do feel nervous and just again tell ourselves we're just excited, scientifically we're excited, that can also trigger within your brain to calm down a little bit because it will bring you to a more positive space. But also sometimes you might be too full of confidence and then you're not really aware of the opposition. So it's about being realistic as well and having that level of realism, being able to bring yourself up but also bring yourself back down, stay even keeled as always. If you want to see how I train myself and other athletes, then head over to TikTok and Instagram, follow me there at Elite Smart Athletes, as I'm always posting my workouts there, and the link will be in the description, probably up here too somewhere. The next quality I think these athletes have is a supreme level of focus. They are able to zero in on their target, kind of like a hawk in the sky when they see their prey from above. We look at the late great Kobe Bryant. We had that clip, that moment where Chris Rock was sitting next to him and he was on the bench. Chris Rock was like rattling off whatever he was talking about. And yeah, Kobe just wasn't really listening to him at all because he was just so locked in on the task. I think that these elite level athletes know when it's time to focus. They do not let distractions come their way. And that doesn't just start in a workout, that doesn't start in the game, that is probably just in their lifestyle. So when these players say that, they're not going out partying and doing all that stuff, that is them training their focus. So if you want to be able to be as focused as them, you've got to start to eliminate distractions from within your life first of all. Because if you're not focused and you let your emotions distract you, you let the external factors distract you, you let your internal thoughts distract you, then it's going to be a real struggle to get back to a level of focus, especially within sports, because there is a score. Or, there's a time limit to the game. So there is a limit to how much time you have to actually refocus yourself. So you have to be able to either stay locked in, or if you do deviate slightly, bring yourself back. I'm not even just talking about sports. This can be in life in general. Like if you're in school, if you're in university, if you have a relationship, whatever it is, you need to be able to zero in and focus. Like don't let outside distractions get you. You need to be like a horse with blinders on and stay locked in on the goal. Check out the link in the description for a free vertical jump workout at www.elitesmartathletes.com. You can also check out my online coaching there. You can book a call with me and we can maybe discuss ways we can work together if you like the way that I coach online or on YouTube. You can also check out some discount codes for other things, such as a joint supplement by Avea Life, the mobilizer. It's one that I personally have been using for a while now to heal my knees. If you are new to this page, go check out some of my older videos about knee pain and everything, and you'll be able to see my journey with my bad knees and how they've gotten better. And this supplement has been very key to that process. So yeah, you can get 15% off using the code EliteSmart. The links are all in the description, so check that out there. Now, this next one is one that I think kind of goes under the radar a lot for players, but for elite level athletes who have an amazing temperament, I believe they have such a high EQ. I know we talk about high IQ athletes, in terms of their ability to read their sport, but EQ is rarely, I've not really seen much about the level of EQ that high level athletes have. And the reason I say this is because a lot of athletes, when they get into difficult situations, particularly with the refs, it's rare they're going to turn over a decision, unless maybe it's football and it's VAR and they've been told by other officials to turn it over. It's so rare that on the words of an athlete themselves, they're going to be able to change the mind of an officiating person. There is a high level of emotional intelligence that these athletes need to have to be able to deal with difficult situations. But let's think about a ref that has made a bad call that you didn't like. You're never going to get it overturned. But what I noticed that a lot of high level players do, especially in the NBA, they'll actually start telling the ref to look out for future calls instead. And you can only do that if you have a certain relationship with the ref, because again, some of these refs are a bit trigger happy with their whistles, right? But one of the ways you can build that relationship is just doing small things like learning the name of the refs who are officiating your game. But then when you speak to them, when they're making a decision, you can actually use their name. And if you use their name, they are still humans. That psychology within them is like, oh, okay, let me actually just listen a bit more to what this person has to say. You're not gonna change their mind. It never happens. It never happens. But they will be more willing to listen to what you have to say. And then if you start telling them to look out for something in the future, it's going to be in their mind when they make their next call. But only if you actually work on developing that relationship, and that takes a high level of emotional intelligence. If you do not have a high EQ, you're not going to be able to develop that relationship. And let's be frank, sometimes the refs will favor the star players over non-star players, but if they like you as a person and you've developed that relationship, they might help you. One player might shout at a ref and get ejected from a game. Another player might shout and it's fine. Why? The ref likes them. It's that simple. The ref is a human being, not a robot. So you have to play on the psychology of that human being. So I think that high EQ is something that really goes under the radar. So these are just some qualities that I think top level athletes all share across a lot of different sports, and they're not things that you necessarily need a high level of skill for within your sport, but mentally, it takes a lot of mental control to be able to have this level of skill to be able to perform at the top level. If you like this breakdown, then check out the video that's about to come up on screen, which is all about building an elite mindset. And it does cover similar topics as this video, but from a slightly different angle. So worth a watch, and you might as well subscribe whilst you're at it too. But as always, until next time, stay blessed.